you're good to go.
Thank you, Fred. And you got it? I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for March 11th, 2022. We're gathered here this afternoon to discuss some problems we have, unfortunately, that's beyond our control as far as the price of fuel. A lot of things going on in the world that we can't do anything about, but we do need to take a long, hard look at our practices that we're utilizing, what we're doing, and economize as much as possible on fuel. Anybody have any comments? All right. We're not doing the invocation and the pledge. All right. The first thing I've got on this agenda is Charlie Bruner.
Morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Y'all threw me for a loop there.
Hey, Paul.
First item I have for you all is I spoke with Florida Forest Service regarding the ban on burning in the county at the direction of Florida Forest Service based on the amount of rainfall and the weather conditions. They are comfortable with me bringing to you guys that they are comfortable with lifting the burn ban. Of course, that lies on the board's decision. They said that we've had adequate amount of rainfall that they would feel okay lifting that.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Pate, second by Commissioner Hill. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Question, Charlie.
Yes,
Charlie,
go ahead.
What's the update on down there? I know that there's some smoke very present now in 31, so in that area, so.
I think their main focus now is in Calhoun County, in the Broad Branch community still. And they still have, of course, the mobile command center all set up at the airport at Calhoun County. They said this morning, 33,140 acres and 40% containment. And speaking with David Kent, the rain has dampened the area and dampened the fire so they can establish larger fire lines. So that's really helped. Of course, it's going to end up burning itself out, but they've established a really wide fire line. So there's no more evacuations in place down there. So it's gotten a lot better.
You know, I think we get more rain tonight. I think.
Right, a lot more.
So that's good.
Especially south of us and east of us are getting the heavier rainfall.
So we'll get that out to the press as soon as possible.
Yes, absolutely. We know what we're doing and get that out to them. We've had a lot of calls from some land clearing businesses. So,
All right, a couple of things,
yes,
Charlie.
sir.
And the just something that came up when we were working on this burn ban.
Yes, sir.
I think, and I don't know if we have a policy on this, William. When we need to put a burn ban in place, I would think that if the fire chief says we need a burn ban immediately, that between the chairman and the county administrator, we do it and don't have to call up a special
We
meeting.
did that, Mr. Chairman. I think we did that right after Hurricane Michael, instead of having to come back and all. I thought we did give it to authority to
Can you
the
research?
chairman, administrator, and
Because it make it a lot easier and streamline the process because, you know, I was out on the lawnmower and get a couple of phone calls.
Yeah, that was the difference too. I think the board was under a local state of emergency at that point.
Right.
So that's the difference. Being
Well,
inside of local state.
Whatever we got to do, I think we need to work it out.
So somebody just allow that authority to ratify it in the next board meeting.
Yes, absolutely. It would have to be ratified.
yeah, not say ever, but you know.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner McKinney.
Y'all good with that?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I'd like to make sure that the chief notifies all the commissioners.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Somebody.
And we'll only do this under, I run close on the advice of the Florida Forest Service on that, because they really monitor that drought indices and the weather and the humidity. So we stay in line with our partners on that.
I just think it would expedite the matter, so
Absolutely.
if we got that in our
Yeah.
policy.
Okay, sure.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. One more thing.
Yes, sir.
In view of what's happening south of us,
Yes, sir.
can you talk, or do you want us to talk with the Forestry Service about burning, controlled burns? They need to burn all these woods off
I agree.
everywhere they can.
I think that a lot of people have brought up the same, a lot of fire departments and have brought up the same. I know that that issue was brought up to Mr. Petronas, the CFO. I think it comes down to the Florida Forest Service lack of personnel and resources. I think they have the same idea and want that you brought up, but I think they are running thin on forest firefighters and rangers. And I think they really want to get out there and do those burns, but I think they've even still struggled within the past 3 years of, they had a program for the reestablishing fire lines. They changed their plow from the fire plow to a regular disc, and they were going back to people's properties. They would sign up through the Florida Forest Service. They'd come out and reestablish previously established fire lines. But I think the demand's high for that in this area. And I think that they are well behind as far as personnel.
Yeah, I talked to David the other day because we needed some property burn off. They charged 20 an acre, and I think the private one charged about 42 an acre.
Right, and then,
So, but-
then you got then you deal with the state versus all your private fire burners that are certified, you know, when to burn off large tracts of land like that.
Well, I think it would be nice.
Sure.
If there was a service they could provide.
And I think that,
Get rid of.
I
this
think we
stuff.
could both partner together from the board and chairman aspect of talking with the legislators about doing some burning and getting the Florida Forest Service to do that. But I think also me talking with our local forestry partners to see if we can do that too. I think we both need to hit it that way.
We don't want to overload them, but
Right.
if they started burning 2 or 3 plots a week, it would help.
And I mean, even the Florida Cavern State Park, we're using their Park Service firefighters to try to do some control burn up until the ban on burning. And you know, we're almost 3.5 years after Michael, so
But
they're
you're
still
at the
doing
point now where the pine is going to burn
Sure.
hot.
and that's what they
When
do.
it first fell down, all it would do was singe over and burn the needles and leaves. Now it'll burn the wood.
Oh, yeah, it's burning a lot.
So I think the
Now,
person,
3 years, 4 years from now, you won't have to worry about it because it will rot and go away.
I think the personnel is the issue. David kind of, surmised that they have 2 dozers for this area.
Sure.
One
For this
is on
district.
call, and so now you need it because of Hurricane Michael's debris. I know one of the dozers that when the fire was shattered the window of his in the middle of a fire. So they need a secondary backup for that. So that's the reason they're just saying in no foreseeable future, then they could be able to offer the private burn. But if we can ask maybe as a state legislature for more resources in the hurricane, template, that would.
And I think maybe the board drafting a letter request to the Commissioner of Agriculture that's over the Florida Forest Service would be very helpful, asking for some help.
You can draft one.
Yeah, I can draft one
You do it
on
by
behalf
next
of the
meeting?
board, and we can put it on the board letterhead.
Let's do everything we can. to
Sure,
make it happen.
I'll work on that too.
I would say we talk to the secretary. I'll leave that.
Yeah, I better not. It Probably.
Well, we gotta do something. I think,
I think they're aware of the area. The governor, the Commissioner of Agriculture, they're all aware of this blowdown after this. This was a pretty big eye opener.
It just might be an opportunity also for Mr. Kent and them to get some additional equipment
Right,
for that purpose and maybe personnel.
right.
and on that note, Charlie, I was speaking to some of them out the other day. In times like this, you got, I guess, seize the moment, but is there opportunities for the fire departments to get custom, maybe apply for grants in this area for custom? I think Delwood, really, y'all have, I think, one of the best fire trucks. Because as far as for Woodlands, because we're very hesitant on carrying our rescue truck. It also goes to extrication type situation into the woods.
Sure.
But there's custom, obviously,
Yeah.
forestry type trucks that we can buy that would benefit us.
I brought that up to CFO Patronus Friday night when I spoke with him, that we need for the impacted areas, especially these, not only our fire department, but the volunteer fire departments in our county run on such constrained budgets, that we need some type of grant program to provide brush trucks. And whether, you know, the Park Service, because the Park Service gently uses theirs compared to the Forestry Service, whether they roll out of theirs and we get some, not, when you say surplus, you've seen the surplus line, that's some really worn out equipment, but maybe some gently used equipment, if they could pass it down, if not, provide a grant opportunity program for these counties.
The vast majority don't need new ones. I mean, I wouldn't even want to buy a new truck and put it in the woods that you don't get beat up and all that.
But
Just
maybe,
something.
maybe if it's a gently used from the Park Service or something like that, that we can repurpose. Because I told him, I said, every station in this county has the same affected area. So we need one at every station. I spoke with Alan Clayton, and he said that he had looked at pricing one out, and with the price of inflation of chassis and stuff like that,
North of 200.
150, 160. And that was a very basic version. Nothing upgraded on it.
And you discussed this with
CFO Patronus. Yes, sir. So we'll, I told him, you know, once that crisis passed, we'd love for him to come here and, you know, we're to look at the area, the fire departments, and the issues that we potentially would have with the same type of fire here, that, you know, we don't have near the amount of equipment that Bay County has.
okay.
So,
All right. I think the next one you were.
Yes, sir. Yes, so the next item, we're asking the board to ratify a change in the medical director's contract. I worked with Danielle following the board meeting. We just asking the board to change, we clarified the language in the compensation part. It's not a dollar amount change. It was changing from a biweekly timesheet to a monthly timesheet. And we put the numbers in there, and Danielle and Marie reviewed it from the clerk's office with Clay.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Donifro. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Jeffrey?
Y'all doing?
Good. Fine, sir. How are you?
Good. One thing we got today is request the board approval to rescind the motion to go out for bid on side by sides and be able to use the state contract pricing.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pate. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. When are we going to discuss?
Yeah, Chairman. Chairman, so we don't need a motion for you to buy this because this other was on state contract.
Right.
Okay, so we don't need that. Okay. Just want to make sure.
So, I need to come up.
Yes, I
Well,
don't
if you
know
have
your
any
name.
information, yeah.
So we not need to go out for bid because we have a state contract. So now that we have state contract pricing, we'll have to pick which unit we want, and then we'll have to come back to you to approve the actual purchase off of state
Now,
contract.
you shared with me, Jabba,
I mean,
you
are you
wanted the
not prepared to do
Polaris
that today with me?
Less is less.
less expensive, but it fills the void that you need.
Right.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
So our proposal is for 2 units.
Wait a minute.
Going really quick here.
Well, you gotta-
So this is all for the right-of-way spray operation. So the proposal is for 2 of these side-by-sides. We have 4 on staff personnel that we intend to have going out with existing county trucks and trailers. So we need the side-by-sides and the sprayers, which you should have a breakdown of the supplemental equipment needed on that spreadsheet. So if you approve the purchase of 2 Polaris Ranger side-by-sides off Florida Sheriff's Association contract, then we can get that ball rolling and, you know, get them ordered. Now, delivery time's up in the air at this time, but that'll at least get us a head start.
But those, if you add all the add-ons, they're not the least expensive according to this.
Just about it. But there's,
But you're talking about buying the Polaris,
but because of Bobcats, you can't get a windshield or a roof or.
or they don't, got it.
That wasn't a listed item in the contract price. So these others add-ons, so, mirrors, obviously, brake lights, if you're gonna be on right of way, stuff like that, weren't options on the Bobcat, so it's
I guess
not,
the way I read it was that they weren't charging for that.
no, sir, it's not available. Yes.
And so you'll need how many tanks?
So that'll be the UTV sprayer tank, that'll be 2 tanks, they're $1,000 a piece, so 2,000 on that. The herbicide comes in a 30-gallon tote, and they're 990 a piece, so, just depending on when we get ordered, I put a little extra money in there, so up to 5,000 on that to keep it.
And how much a piece?
They're $990 per 30 gallons.
I got a question on the sprayer. Is it lined in gold?
On the sprayer itself, 45-gallon UTV sprayer, so it was
I just bought
900
one.
something dollars and some, sir,
I just bought one.
How much you
last
pay
year.
for it? Don't remember?
did
Oh,
you
I
get
know
a?
exactly what I paid.
So these are from, ag spray, supply, ag spray equipment, something like that.
Up there on 84.
Yes, sir. So these are
They'll make
45
you-
gallons, and they're bumping $900 a piece, but we want to add a Y and put 2 guns on each pump, so both sides can spray. So the extra equipment's gonna be knocking on $1,000 all
So
day.
they're gonna be in the ditch spraying on both sides, because it's in the road,
Well, it'll be a
on the
sprayer.
shoulder.
The driver and the passenger will both be spraying, so you'll be able to reach both sides of the right away.
And that's only on dirt roads, right? You can't do that can you reach that far on a county road?
I mean,
No,
you can zigzag,
just
but you're not
on the
gonna be
same side of
doing
the
a
road.
steady swap.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you'll be spot spraying, so you'll just have to, the driver will have to navigate from,
So you need
You're not,
two.
you're not taking the hoses across the roadway, you're just staying on both sides of the.
Right.
Right, just drive.
So they'll be in the ditch spraying out both sides,
mhm,
because they can't be in the road and spray both
Right.
sides.
that's right.
That's a lot more than I paid for mine.
Seems a little steep.
This 300-gallon nurse tank, explain that.
So that'll be just a clear water tank to stay in the truck. So when you spin whatever you got in your UTV sprayer, you'll have plain water to mix a new batch of herbicide in the field.
We don't have a water truck.
We have a very large water truck that will
4,000
not be
gallons.
applicable for this operation.
I don't know if you want to carry that big old monster out there.
That's like a
You'll burn a lot of
4,000
fuel there.
Tanker.
Now we don't want to take none of it out there. They might have to try them ATVs all the way to wherever they spray.
Right.
So
Same
again, you
gas.
need 2 sprayers of the 45 gallons, so we're $2,000. On your herbicide 30-gallon tote, that's 1,000 for two more. Why they tip 5,000? They 5,000 a piece?
Well, we wanted
1,000.
we wanted 5 up front just to have in stock.
You're
So we
looking
go
at
ahead and
total.
put in an order for 5 totes, and then that'll, be about $5,000, and then we'll just have it in stock, and as needed, we'll refresh.
Looking at a total of 22,773 for everything that you proposed to buy.
I ain't even done that,
No,
sir.
I did it while ago.
Plus, no, actually, we're talking about 14, so it's times 2, so 28 plus
Right, plus the
Eight.
other.
36, 37,000. 38,000.
Right, that's 29,546 plus
What's-
$2,000, $5,000 and $1,000.
8,000 plus the 2, 4, 14, 773.
Now add your 29,
29.
550, and 540. 6. Something didn't go right.
What we gonna spray?
Light bulbs, culvert.
No. What are we?
2,4-D,
What
and what are we
spray?
using?
What chemical?
What herbicide are we buying?
Glyphosate,
What?
glyphosate, right, it's
29,000,
Plus 1,000.
29,900.
It's not keeping your stuff. So, just take 29, 546. Clay's gonna get this stuff keeping everything.
I got 37,546. 37,546.
37,546. And where's this coming from?
wherever that's at. Non-budgeted. I don't know what.
What do y'all wanna pull out?
I'm gonna use AR money, I mean, we're getting pretty close on the contingency.
I don't know what the CARES balance is looking like for you.
What's
we
our
need that.
contingency looking like?
What's the CARES
Oh,
balance?
that I spent yesterday was the first out of it, or Tuesday, whatever it was, so. 19.
There was 5 something available.
All right, now, we've
That's the
always, we've
CARES.
never spent the 400 and something that you see in there. It was 180. I don't have my budget yet. Access to the internet. I want to think it was.
Take it out of contingency. That's made my recommendation. Everybody agree?
So we don't replenish it with CARES Act then?
We getting pretty shy on that CARES Act. I
Well, that's
actually want to
what's
go
the
over
amount? What's
our
the amount you got
balance.
left?
She sent me what she had and I hadn't had time to balance it out, but
Well,
What's the balance on the contingency?
She just said 4 something.
Well, that was CARES.
No, it's less than 200,000.
Well, why wouldn't we just put CARES Act into
150,
the
I think it was
contingency?
156.
It's reimbursed, it's reimbursed.
You can do that.
No.
I thought we always
Budget.
I don't think so. Cause I didn't know.
Yeah, Clay's bringing up some good news.
yeah, I have a, option here. That money that Mr. Brooks gave to us, gave back to the board, 150 something.
56, I think, I can't remember.
Right,
Excess fees,
Exactly.
it's
So
not included in the
It's,
budget.
it will be added to our carry forward.
Is that CARES last year or already existing?
930.
It wasn't included in the budget, 'cause we didn't know he was gonna give that back.
That automatically go to the general revenue. No. We can move from general revenue to contingency, go there and still have a little left over.
We'll slide it over to y'all.
So you're gonna take the money that Clay has given back, put it in the general revenue, and then move it from general revenue to contingency.
Well, from general revenue to, we're gonna transfer it to the road department.
What's it being used for?
37,546.
That's what, we're sitting here debating on stuff and we got freaking $500,000 sitting in CARES Act.
I don't know that there is a $500,000 left. I would be scared to
Well,
make
what's it
that
being spent
statement.
on then?
I mean, you spent 120 of it Tuesday, right there on those lawyer fees. So,
On what?
on the lawyer fees, that's where that came from, CARES.
Arbitration.
Baker Dan, balance.
How much have we got left?
I've already told you, I need to compare my numbers with her numbers.
What
Approximately.
about the next meeting y'all bring us?
What's the latest one you have, Carlin? Yeah, please do. I mean, we're sitting here debating on budgetary money.
It really
They
don't,
don't even know what
We need the perpetual budget.
really don't matter.
Well, then we
I
added
still
the
got
time.
the money to use it for whatever.
Well, the contingency you can use just about anything.
Well, we can't- the CARES
CARES
Act.
you've got, you can.
The CARES Act's already been reimbursed, if I understood it right. There's no time to that money, is that correct?
The CARES money that's available has already
So it
been
don't matter.
claimed to
It
the
don't matter. That's
state.
what I said. Why wouldn't you just take the CARES money and put it in our contingency, so that way we know exactly what we got, instead of having two different balances here? That makes no sense, to me at least.
So you want to just clear out the CARES roll at the
Why would you
contingency
not?
and just put in operation or as
Absolutely.
needed?
Well, why
We
can't
use
you?
it for everything.
Well, it's being reimbursed, why can't?
No, that money is just free and clear yours,
That's what I'm
the
saying.
CARES money.
So it could go into contingency.
Sure.
Well, we're not trying to,
Right.
just like
Well,
Eric
that's what I'm
said,
saying.
not
I mean,
having
Is that
that.
two
all right?
different
We on
spreadsheets.
footwork? Put it in there?
Whatever's left.
Once I get to that balance.
Okay. So
I'm
it's
just-
still come out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, it just keeps you having two balance sheets.
Just do that. Take whatever's left in the contingency, put it in the.
You need a motion on that, or
contingency.
Yeah, I made that motion.
Yeah.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hill. What was your motion?
Motion to put remaining by CARES money into contingency for the
All right.
2022-2023.
And a second by Commissioner Donifro. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
And then possibly provide an
Now.
updated contingency balance to each of you just for reference.
Right.
Now, give me a motion, then on,
I'll make a, yeah, go ahead.
I'll offer a motion to pay for the side-by-sides. What did we say it was?
37,546.
37,546 out of the newly created
Second.
contingency.
got a motion by Commissioner Donifro, second by Commissioner Pate. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Go get it.
PO out next week. Thanks, Bill.
Can you guess the time frame and let us know what the time frames are? And the reason I was asking that on that closest a minute ago, Jeffrey, Gabo, was that there's $500 difference per $1,000 extra. I would still check with John Deere and say the availability, because I'm not against Polaris or either one of them, but if Polaris is 6 months out and the John Deere's is a month out,
Well,
$1,000 might be worth it.
we called John Deere first to get an idea on quote and know if we needed to bid it or contract or whatever, and they were throwing out like August.
Okay, well, that would be a deciding factor if it was.
And it may come down to having one each.
It don't matter. I mean, we just need them.
Give one in a time amount and one in a thousand.
So for clarification from an operations standpoint, are we being tied specifically to Polaris, or are we tied to 37,546 to get the job done?
I would say 37,546, because again, if you find one
Again,
in
what's
Dothan,
available?
what's available? I mean, I would see that we needed them now. If we sit on a separate product, it's a comparable product, there's no sense of wasting time that we valuably need.
Understood.
May have to go up a little. Get it.
Donovan.
All right, y'all straight?
We're gonna go by the money, but,
546. I mean, you could come back if y'all find out we need to ratify that. If the other one is, they're available, both John Deere's, and we need to expend that to 38,546, and I was, or whatever that number comes out to.
Whichever way we go, we'll have.
And there's none
Full
available on
clarification.
lots anywhere around? Really?
Not in the south.
Probably not
So
on
they have
state,
nothing to say?
And that,
probably not on state contract.
and that was,
Oh, I
that
know
was,
on state contract.
that was one of my problems
Probably
with,
not, but
that was one of my problems with going out for bid. There's no incentive to be competitive because it ain't like they're trying to move equipment, and they got waiting lists for these types of things. So
Yeah,
going
full
off the
retail
contract
price.
prices, yeah, exactly. Contract was our best.
I understand that they're not selling trucks now on state contract, is that correct?
I don't know. I know Nicole just bought one for the health department. but I don't know how she got it.
Yeah, we priced a F-550 the other day.
they're still advertised.
The advertised price, but had a little asterisk at the bottom of it when we looked at it. It said, I mean, because the problem, the price was 41.2 or something. That truck's, well, that's only $2,000 more than it was in 2015. So
All right,
Thank y'all.
y'all straight? All right.
Good afternoon. So here today just to further our discussion of the Fuza Road Housing Development RFP. I've sent this out to you guys in email form and also sent it to you in your boxes. So there's also a copy in front of you today. Just want to get your feedback on it. Took your comments. I think hopefully I addressed them fairly well, but let me know what you think and we can kind of get this going to the next step.
And you've got your computer with you?
I have a handout here actually in paper.
You're
for
a
you.
good man. You're learning.
So
All
what part
right,
of Booster we
we
addressed?
discussed, huh?
What part of Booster we
The
addressed?
house.
The housing, well, I know, but is it second water, or are you talking about the pavement going down?
No, the houses.
Oh, the houses, oh,
Houses.
I didn't know if y'all meant.
You're looking for this. Isn't there one of these in their packet?
Yes, there's a copy of the part 1, 2, and 3, which is the.
Okay,
You'll have the intent in front of you, the
got
scope
mine.
information,
My old-
and the evaluation criteria.
Starts on 22.
All right. On the first page,
Okay.
that we got the wrong date. We're aware of that, right?
Yeah, so all the highlighted portions are things that are going to be changing. That says like standard format kind of stuff.
Okay. I have a question. You guys got any questions? Go ahead and ask them while I'm finding my place.
I mean, this advertising will be nationally, correct, not regionally, correct?
We're sending out to everybody who we normally send it out to, and with our new system we have, Marcel, it sends it to everybody in the region.
Yeah, I think we need to expand that to national. It needs to go
We can,
national.
yeah, we can get it on some different sites, different development sites.
I'm trying to find what I'm looking for.
Red marks.
I got them all over, but mine, he's got a different piece of paper.
He's got a different one.
Yeah,
Shouldn't be different what we're looking at.
okay, paragraph 1.1.
Okay.
2, 4, about the fifth line. affordable housing. Affordable workforce, strike affordable housing.
Yeah.
And use affordable workforce housing.
Okay.
290 acres. Okay. What about incorporating something in there saying less than 290 acres? Are y'all okay with
I
that?
thought it was
What do you
320
say?
minus the amount of land that was unused.
which is-
Well, what I'm saying is, the way this is written, you're coming in, you're gonna have to take over the whole 290. That's not what the board has discussed. We have discussed breaking it down into like as low as 20-acre parcels and giving out. We would love for somebody to come get it all,
I would hope somebody got it.
but don't you want to incorporate something in here that
Yeah,
they can,
because they got
less than 290 acres?
if we start doing 20-acre lots, which I know we discussed that to begin with, but you got people wanting the front 20s.
So you don't want somebody to want the high dollar ones in the back.
And remember now, we don't want to have to build the roads.
Yeah, but then, all of a sudden you get all kind of mix match as far as
So we
what one
could-
developer wants to do versus another one.
I would say, why don't we go out as for a total project first, and then go, because again, you're talking, I mean, it's like going and getting lumber, the ones that's gonna get 20 of, they don't pick through the ones and throw the coals to the side. Then you're trying to sell coals at the same price as the other ones. I mean, I don't.
When I say doing 20 acres, you do the front thing and nobody's gonna want the back. Because they've already developed roads in there that's gonna be hard to get and blah, blah, blah. So maybe we need to go out.
Well, we
this way.
designed the whole project, the roads would be laid out.
Yeah, we don't need to be
It's
designing.
gotta be
nothing.
designed.
No, it
No, we
don't.
don't need to do that. That's part of the
They'll do that, they'll do that, put
Yeah.
the water and sewer in there themselves.
I don't have a problem
Yeah.
if they take over the whole project, but I don't think we're gonna get.
I don't think you'll get somebody.
We'll do what.
Well, one of the
Commissioner
suggestions,
Hill
I don't
said.
think you'll get somebody to get 20 or 40 acres out of a.
Do we want to
project.
put an option in there where we don't have to?
Be economical.
Do we want to put an option in
You will
there
have people that,
where they
Yeah,
can
but if they can't
bid,
go
they
to
can
the
send
water
stuff
sewer,
on
20
everything
acres, they want to be all.
and we decide? Instead of go one time and then go out and bid.
The way this is written, it gives the respondents a lot of flexibility, which I think is what you want.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to give them as much flexibility in the way that they put the proposal together as possible. You don't want to be too tight.
okay.
So
But do we want to have to
Still-
go out to bid again if we don't get anybody for the whole thing?
I think you're gonna have to, if we don't get a taker.
Like I said, I've got about 3 that's real interested, just waiting on us to decide what we're gonna do. Now, they might not do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the only.
Moving along. Huh?
we're gonna go out to bid for the whole thing.
That's what you're saying, it's fine with me. I don't, we can try it. If it works, great. I am, the last paragraph under 1.1
Mhm.
says, may provide funding assistance for startup costs, including but not limited to water, sewer, infrastructure, roadway, sidewalks, new home construction.
Mhm.
Where are we gonna find that money?
Yeah, so this is a potential, so one, HHRP was a potential funding source for new home construction, and also we had considered using American Rescue Plan Act funds. So like, I don't know, I didn't want to leave that off the table if they said, hey, we need such and such amount of money to like make
Well,
this project
we
possible.
don't want to mislead them either, do we?
Well, it
That's
says
what it says,
may
may.
provide.
Right, it says May.
So like if,
Well, I saw the May, but
they'll give their pro forma statements, and if there's a gap, then, you know, I think we want to be able to see it.
Again, it's kind of, the intent is to try to be as flexible as possible. And I think
Right.
When you start using words like may, that gives a lot of flexibility in the way that they propose and then also the way that we review the proposals.
But is this really possible that we'd have money out of the AR,
Well,
maybe out of,
we had considered doing the water and sewer to the site. So like, we haven't done that yet. So that could be part of,
well, we're gonna have to do that to the site.
well, so that could be part of, you know, their response.
yeah, that's part of it, but new home construction, I think we're going to,
Why,
have
we could-
problems with that.
Could strike that.
Under paragraph 2.1, I would strike the affordable again. affordable workforce, what we're looking for.
I still have.
Y'all don't disagree? I mean, y'all
Well,
agree with
well,
me?
first of all, I still have a question. We're talking about 320 deedable acres, correct?
No,
No,
well,
Well,
we got the wetlands.
the wetlands are inside the 290 or the 320?
320.
Okay, so my point is that you're kind of misleading a little bit. You're telling me that the 30 acres is not counted on the 290 footprint, is not gonna have to be cleared?
So if you
Wait,
go to 2.4,
wait.
the project site, it's a little bit about it. So we do mention specifically that of the residential land is approximately 135 acres of upland area, which is upland, just not wetland area. And then of the mixed-use urban transitional land, there's approximately 60 acres. So that's where you get your actual acreage amount there, which is
Usable, you're talking about 290 usable and 320.
195 usable. So 135 plus 60 of the upland area.
2.4.
is this counting the?
Well, I'm looking
land?
at 2.2.
Is this counting the land on the other side of the interstate?
No.
No.
No, I think put that in there, yeah, because it would be not really,
16 acres or something down
yeah.
there.
You have to tunnel under or get
Um,
DOT to. build some type of-
Come around the other way. Do we have access to it?
Not
We'd
quite.
have to get through.
Somebody's had access to it.
Yeah, I think there's like a 40 between.
Yeah.
Do we have, Bill Stanton had like a retainer on it in case of usage or something to get to it, but somebody owns, I think.
Under 2.2, you talk about maximum gross density of the project.
Yes. So that is,
Do we want to put as many apartment complexes out there as we can? Is that what we're saying there?
I mean, you're gonna need to try to maximize your acreage, because that's
You're
what they're
gonna
gonna be
put,
looking at. I mean,
well, are you gonna put 4 houses per acre or 12?
well,
Somewhere in here it says 4, don't it?
they
So
can
that
put-
says 12 too.
so under
That's
the,
on the
the comp plan, the max you can put is 4 for residential land and 12 for
mixed use.
mixed use, right?
Yeah,
The intent is, you don't have to go 4, but
I thought we were looking at going with like 1/4 acre and 1/2 acre lots.
I think that's gonna be up to.
Yeah, there
Well, it'd be
again, I
up
think
to
what
the
you're trying to do is
developer.
leave it up to the developer to come in and propose to us what they think will market best.
And then we'll decide whether.
I think, again, the more general and vague we leave this, the better off we'll
I
be.
mean, the market's
Yeah.
gonna dictate.
so
what
it's,
they do.
I can put to the intent to maximize use instead of that maximize. Instead of making it that we're forcing them to say max use.
2.5. 80% to 120% of the area median income.
Right. So that's how you would specify it was actually affordable or not to those.
Is that for
homeowners.
working people?
Yes. So this is the area median income. This is what they use, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation uses. And I think those numbers for Jackson County, if you know, I mean, the area median income for Jackson County is like 39,000. So if you look at these numbers in relation to a household, that's about what our families are making. So I'm talking about 2 households, I think that's gonna be in line with affordable workforce.
But there again, you're leaving it up to the developer to determine how much of the development would be made up from those
Exactly.
type of housing,
Right.
which I think is what you want to do.
So they
They
don't
may
have,
have some come in and say that we're gonna.
I know we had discussed-
10%, and they have one that says we're gonna make 50% of it.
We had discussed, 150,000 and up.
yeah, and so I was saying there cannot exceed 30% of the household's income. So if you do like, the median income of 53,000, 30% of that, got my number, but it's like 12,000, something like that or more, 15,000.
That number.
That's a pretty high amount for a house. So that's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, with the price of lumber going up, I mean, it's and staying pretty relatively high. I mean, you're cutting sometimes 15 or 20% more on your lumber
Yeah,
packages.
but by the time this thing comes about, they may be giving it away.
Things can change quickly.
Yeah,
Already had.
under 2.5, structural requirements.
Mhm.
It says provide quality buildings by respecting the rhythms found in the size, placement, portion of entries and windows and other buildings. Avoid faults historic design. What are you talking about?
Hang on.
Like
I think I
dormers and
know.
stuff, Like
Right,
not
we did,
useful.
right, that is it.
I know, but
I read.
putting some of these old Creole style houses out there that you see down there.
Yeah, you want them to be modern.
Watercolors and things like that.
You want them to be modern, and you don't want them to be like, you're gonna like Defuniak Springs, before, like downtown Defuniak, all the houses are just like large and individual. You kind of want them to be sort of somewhat matching, so it's kind of, it flows into a better streetscape. And also the large garages, you don't want them to be like, so utilitarian, you want them to be kind of more functional. That's kind of the intent there.
Yeah, but I can see putting, the old Creole type house out there with the wraparound porch. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
We can.
Well,
I can
this,
strike it.
this is, again, this is.
I know.
The market's gonna dictate all this. We're
I'm
arguing
keenly
something.
aware of that, but I want to make sure everybody's agrees with what we're putting out.
The only thing I would change on that is one of the things I said is instead of structural requirements, that kind of lends more towards structural engineering. I would put design requirements or aesthetic requirements, because that's what you're talking about, not the structural
Design.
design requirements.
So we're saying that once they, whoever accepts this, if they do, that they don't need to come back before the board and show us what they're gonna build?
Mhm.
Well, they're gonna give us a plan. I think we accept that plan, see if it meets our requirements, and
I
no,
would
let
think
them
that they're
roll.
responsible to
Okay.
do some type of master plan, that shows where the streets will be laid out and, where your affordable housing is.
Under
Oh.
2.7,
Hold on a second,
go ahead.
right there. What is sustainable green design features?
Sounds good.
So that's from our shift program. That's what we instilled to all the houses. So that's like, modern lighting, LED lighting, kitchen appliances that are like more efficient, things like that. Buildings that are not
Well, I
asbestos.
thought it
Encourage
said
that.
that
The building
somewhere
code
in here,
requires it.
besides that. I thought I read that about more efficient, lighting and stuff like that already in here. I'll just,
Xeriscaping instead of landscape. There's a lot of different things they can point to.
bringing the houses to the road. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd put Energy Star building designs, which is.
okay. I just want to see if you knew what that was.
2.7 D,
Okay,
the developer shall demonstrate ability to complete the following scope of services.
okay.
How?
But they're gonna show us, so most likely if it's develop architectural landscaping plans for us. So developer shall demonstrate the ability, so they're gonna provide us, in order to demonstrate that, they're gonna provide us kind of a basic architectural landscaping plan for each home that's gonna be constructed, and a kind of like a tentative scope of work that they would bid out, or we're gonna complete. And then it keeps going here, so they're gonna show us examples of all these things in their response. That's what the intent is.
I guess my question with that is, we're not asking them at this level to provide that. We're just asking them to demonstrate the ability to be able to do that at some point in the future if they're selected.
Right.
I guess if it's a national company that gets a rebate and a regional company that's sizable, they have schematics already, a plan they've
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Just send
They're
it.
gonna take this whole thing, they know what they're
Oh,
doing.
yeah, sure.
If not, we'll be able to tell they don't.
But at this stage, we're not asking them to develop for, if they've got 200 lots out there, we're not asking them to develop at this stage an architectural floor plan and landscaping plan for each one of those lots. We're just saying, we want to know that you're going to be able to do that at some point in the future.
Right, to show them, so that's part of the evaluation criteria that shows in some way, either past experiences or
They have an
if they have
engineer on.
plans or, yeah,
on
engineer.
Staff that's done
They've
this,
done it
that, and the
before,
other, and we got yeah.
Okay.
environmental
The
people.
last one on there says market and sell homes to eligible individuals and families in accordance with section 2.5A of this RFP portion of the housing units must be sold to individuals and or families that make 80 to 120% of the average median. Why?
Because if you remember, one of the main points of this proposal is to develop affordable workforce housing. And according to standards of Florida Housing Finance Corporation, that standard is nowhere than 30%. So keeping that in there allows you to say, yes, this project is going to
Well,
fund
what if somebody comes along and say, I want to put $1 million homes on every lot out there?
Well, totally fine and doable, up to you.
We would do that.
But we don't need to be doing the premise that we're doing this for work, affordable work housing if they do that. That's a guy.
Don't lock them in.
mean,
I think that though he developed this off the directive that y'all wanted workforce housing. So if that
We
is
do.
the directive, then that's why it's in there.
But if somebody comes along and says, I'm gonna put $1 million homes on each lot,
We'll change what our rules are.
then we
They're not gonna
won't
do it, they don't have.
be, then we won't be at the law.
Yeah.
Uh,
I doubt that's gonna happen, but it's possible.
3.1. C.
Okay.
Key team members include up to 6 individuals. Fine.
So that's just something we've done in the past, standard. I've looked at other housing type RFPs. We can do 5, we can do 4, we can do none. But
Where you at?
Dude,
Where you at?
page 28.
28 at the bottom.
Oh, the bottom. Oh, key team members, yeah.
so that, thinking is maybe that's, that's your company president, architect, engineer, landscape people, just a core team of people.
They better have 5 or 6 involved.
Are you
If
saying
not,
you want more or
it
less?
ain't gonna happen.
I would leave it up to them. I would just like, provide a list of
Adequate
persons,
staff
yeah,
to manage this
who
project.
people you envision being involved in this project.
We can tell if they.
You get somebody that comes in and says, hey, I'm the only one.
I'm the builder, I'm gonna build it all.
Yeah.
Well, what about your
Um,
engineer and all that?
Part
stuff?
4, under 4.2. It says individuals or firms submitting
Where's
responsibilities.
4 at? Yeah, where's 4.2?
I don't know if they
at?
have it in your packets.
No, we don't. It stops at 3 point.
I brought mine.
Where'd you
I
get
didn't
your?
look, you know, movie you want this.
Yeah, we didn't know we were gonna discuss this, okay?
I knew it.
Well, that's.
Well, then you discussing it.
Let me just bring up something. Individuals or firms submitting responses to this RFP shall not contact individual members of the Board of County Commissioners during the evaluation and interview process, excepting only if required regarding other work with the county, but shall not discuss this RFP except to submit questions in writing. Then it's bold highlighted here, says the selection committee may include one or all of the 5 county commissioners. On this project here, I would be more comfortable if it was the selection committee will include all of the 5 county.
Well, why wouldn't it be all, why is it anybody else?
Well,
We don't need.
in the
another
past,
committee.
we have done things where other people have evaluated. I'm just saying, this one, it's so important, make it the commissioners and delete, even down on 4.6.
Yeah, I mean,
I think, I'm just saying,
That's just
I read it.
terms I've used before, right?
and I caught
So
that.
that's standard practice for us in our agreements. And historically, the past, the board has designated ranking committees because sometimes personal staff members are more subject matter experts as opposed to the commissioners.
Well, on this particular project, I think the board
Which is fine,
needs
yeah.
to review it. Go to 4.6. And it talks again about the selection committee, just correct that.
Is that only part of that that you didn't like? Okay.
Well, yeah, that
About the
particular-
blackout period, that's normal stuff.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
It looked good, Hunter.
Great.
Yeah, you've done a good job. I mean, I
You can
read
get it
over,
past- If you can get it past me, you're doing pretty good.
I had a few of the same things, but you did a good job for nothing to go on.
Take it, put it together, massage it, we'll be ready to go.
Do you
Nothing to
want
go
to
on,
see
you
it
done-
again next?
Yes,
board meeting? Okay.
yeah, make sure that, Hunter, make
He
sure they
needs-
all
Be the complete
get a
set.
copy early,
We did. We had it
but you
last
didn't
time.
have it,
I thought we were gonna
Not
discuss
today.
it Tuesday's meeting.
we forgot it.
That was my fault. I thought.
That's
yeah.
right. We didn't.
We were
discuss it.
going to, but I forgot it.
Hopefully,
That's my
we
fault.
maybe can we approve it at the next meeting
All right.
with them changes. and
Yeah, I
carry
think it'll be
forward.
ready to go.
Yep.
Ms. Willan?
Yes, sir. So the next item in your packet is a memo on page 32 that just we put together a little bit of information regarding the rising cost of fuel. So the little spreadsheet, the clip of the spreadsheet that y'all have on page 32 is some information that Carlin put together just to give an idea of kind of where we are. Do you mind coming up and just going over that part? This is based on estimates and, a lot of assumptions, but I just thought it would be helpful for you all to see some numbers of what we could be looking at and are currently looking at.
Okay, so the way the information is on the spreadsheet, we have actuals from February, the gallons of diesel. So we do have 87 that we purchased as well, but this is just the diesel portion. We had 18,327 gallons. So the average cost in February was about $3.23. And then that gave us an average per day, doing a 4-day work week of about $36.94, and then an average monthly fuel cost of almost $60,000. So currently in March, the gas price, or the diesel price right now is $4.90. And so I did a percentile increase, and just to kind of give you guys an estimate of where we could end up, it's almost doubled. And so using that higher estimate, if we look that we still have all of April, May, June, July, August, and September, we could have a potential need if we continue on business as usual of about $630,000. We only originally budgeted $550,000.
For the whole fiscal year.
For the whole fiscal year, and current expenditures are already at $317,658. So our current balance is only a little over $200,000. So if you see what our need is with what we have remaining, we have the potential for a pretty significant deficit.
Almost 400,000.
For gas, and again, that doesn't include what we would still need to purchase in regular gasoline for
The next part we picked the motor graders just as an example. This is not to say this is the only piece of equipment,
Right.
but just because that was sort of an easy number to pull out if you want to go over that one.
And so I worked with Jeffrey, and he gave me an estimate of about 394 gallons per day that just the motor graders are using. So if you use that, if we look at February's for actuals and we use that same 323, that is about $1,200, almost $1,300 per day, with an average monthly cost of about $20,000. So if we go with the same estimate and we look at the 490 currently, again, that already increases by about $10,000 per month. And if we do that higher estimate, we could be as much as $13,000 per month in an increase just to keep the motor graders running as they currently are running right now.
Add $1 to that 525, and you'll probably be close to where we.
Well, I tried to go high. I mean, this is just to give you an estimate.
I
We could
understand.
put any number in there we wanted to. It's going to be
It's going
more
to
than
go-
we have.
It's crazy and going to get crazier.
So on page 33, this is, just from some initial talks with Jeffrey, and he can come up and talk in more detail if he would like. So we put together just something as a proposal, but we're certainly open to ideas. So several things is to grade 1 cycle per month unless a hard rain or where deemed absolutely necessary. Carpooling, and this is just for road and bridge. I'll touch on the other departments next. Dump trucks parked unless dedicated. Limit overtime to what may be needed for specific projects like Sand Ridge Church Road. Minimize idle time, utilize current mowing vacancies to ensure staff has work. So if you do park any equipment, you could put them in a tractor. Utilize county employees as needed across all departments to ensure staff has work. Encourage annual leave usage to help manage leave balances during this time. And then we would review this bi-weekly to determine if our efforts are making the impact that we think they will, because we can look at the fuel master, or we can see what, how much fuel is filled up at the tanks when they come. And if and when the prices level out, then of course we can resume business as usual. And so I'll let y'all ask Jeffrey any questions on that.
Limit overtime to what may be needed for specific projects, i.e. Sand Ridge Church Road.
Yeah,
What's
well, kind of what that is, like, well, I've got, two commissioners right now with special projects. I got with all the, supervisors the other day about special projects. I know me and Robert's got to go fix Round Lake, so that's got to be done. But the reason I really put Sand Ridge, because if we move forward with the proposal to Baxter's on Sand Ridge, we're responsible for hauling all the dirt and the rock. And if they're gonna work 5 days a week, we have to accommodate them.
Your $117,000 from 2016 just went up incrementally based on a lot of factors.
I got some projects ain't been finished either, haven't been finished in a long time.
Well,
I think
this
if we shut
project
it
has
down-
been
Well, I
bid,
understand.
it's been bid out and
Sort of
we
understand.
we can, trust me, I would have done it a year ago if I'd had the quote plans, but I don't, or didn't.
I know.
Finally get them, and now we got a bid, and we got to move quickly, or it's gonna go.
So that diesel fuel's coming out of.
So basically to match our fuel increase to stay anywhere where we are, percentage wise, we don't have to cut the same ratio. If it's went up 100%, we don't have to go
Cut it in half.
100% down on our, at least 50% down.
I
on
do have another about the grading one cycle per month. I'm sorry, y'all, we can't get it done now. So we're,
Well, I mean, and I understand that, like I say, this is just suggestions, you know. I mean, and kind of where I put, like after hard rain is where we need to really focus on looking at the forecast, seeing where we're at. Like before we go make a cycle when we know it's gonna rain next week, let's hold off. Let's go after rain. And then, Chief Bruner had come out the other day and talked with me and he brought up some things that he's seen in the past, like, because at some point, people will start using EMS and all that, because we've all heard it before, well, EMS can't get in or out of my property, you know, and then, you know, he's seen it where like the fire chief and I would go out and look at the roads with us and say, we can make it, we can, I mean, I know everybody, you know, they want to see the graders out as much as they can.
So what staff don't do though? I mean, what kind of projects do you have for them to do? I
Uh,
mean, when you cut back 50% and cut it in half
Well-
of the services,
Well, I mean, that's where it's gonna come into play, you know, so like at this point, employees of Road and Bridge, they are employees of Road and Bridge, but they're also county employees. If wherever we might need employees,
Sure.
if another department needs some help, we can go help. I mean, but it'll be carpooling and stuff like that. So when we go out, and like one little project I've got right now is, as we were talking about measuring all the roads with the redistricting and all that, we can put them out measuring the roads. I mean, we'll still burn some gas and all that, but it won't be nothing like it is now.
well, let me ask you this, Danielle, do we have any history? Well, I don't know if y'all were here, 2008. I mean, 2008 is the last time I think fuel and diesel and crude oil was above 120 in that price range. I think the highest I've ever seen 423 in Steve's in there. So what measure did we take then? Do we know?
I can
423
go
gallons,
back
Tom
and look
Thumb and
and see
all
what
this.
we spent.
I remember 08 was.
I can't
Oh.
speak to, I can't
Because-
speak to Road and Bridge, but in that time frame, I mean, it was similar type measures, the carpooling. We weren't, I mean, like at community development, no going to site visits unless absolutely necessary. You know, there was information put out on, and then on page 34, Chief Bruner actually already released this to his staff on measures that he expects them to take as it comes to no idling unless absolutely necessary for operations, limiting moving of vehicles, no personal trips to the store or restaurants. They can make a stop if they're on their way back from a call, but no out of the way visits. All of that information was out in 2008. I can't say exactly what Road and Bridge did though.
What about the sheriff's department as far as gasoline use? They primarily run regular gas in most of their vehicles. Is it going to have a big impact on the sheriff's budget?
I would think it's mostly gasoline, but I have not spoken with him about this.
But they don't get fuel
They get it out of our budget.
They get it
Right, yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
that's not even factored in a bit.
No, I knew it was. I think at some point in time, we need to look at that as well.
I was hoping the sheriff would be here today. Charlie, can you, on these days that are down, when he's got people sitting around the Quonset hut, can you put together classes on first aid and CPR?
We have a training center, through our department, through American Safety and Health Institute, that we can offer CPR and first aid to all county employees.
I would recommend we do that. Because I know there's been like 3 times Jesus has called me and he's hauling somebody in his truck to the hospital and he's got chest pains. So I said, call Charlie. But anyway, and this is something that will improve their lives.
Sure.
I mean,
No doubt.
Yeah, 4 hours.
some of your down days, when they're sitting around doing nothing, you get these classes going for
Well, I mean, you know, and we'll still have stuff we've got to do, but there just might be 2 or 3 there instead of 1 man there, or whatever. And then, you know, I got, it's gonna be grass cut time for them.
them.
Got 3,
Well, that's-
hopefully, I don't wanna jinx it by saying it, but hopefully the brush guard will be here in a couple weeks instead of next month. You know, but, and so.
We won't have money to put fuel in when they
Yeah,
get
I
Yeah.
know, but, you know.
It looked good, very broke, right?
So I guess it's like everybody else, we have a budget, everybody has budgets and we do too. So I mean, this is something we had to do, allocate for the rise and this, I agree with whoever said it was.
So how much are we, if we take into account your measures, what do you think we'll save?
Well, I mean, just on the graders alone, because the 1,300 a day, 1,396 a day is just what we're doing graders. Now, some of you grader operators are fast. You know, they can cover more cycles than others can. But I mean, I would look at cutting that in half. Because as a general rule, if they pull ditches, grade roads and all that, it should take them somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 9 days to complete a cycle.
I think it's a little more for us.
It shouldn't be.
I think it's 12, 14 days.
It shouldn't be. I mean, it should be 8 to 9. Right. But, I'm talking about,
Oh,
I'm
you're talking about
working
county
days.
average, I understand.
So that's
Right.
2 times a month. But if you go to 14,
Right.
they, some of them ain't getting it. They getting it every 2 weeks.
Well, digging ditches slow you down to start with. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot.
I mean,
And it burns more fuel, I would
and it
imagine.
does. When you put that blade in that ditch, it does burn. So, you know, and so if you pulling roads, most of them could just blade the road in 4 to 5 days. You've got some that can do it in about 3 to 4 days. But that's, you know, there again, that's not all 15 of
I guess worst
I
case
got
scenario,
one that flies.
we could get a box blade and put behind it. Put behind tractors we talked about the other day. I mean, you had to have a power one. I mean, I don't know what the gallons per hour of a grader exactly is, but I know it's a lot more than a 100 horse
regular
tractor.
farm tractor.
So if we were getting everything graded like we say we do, maybe this would be all right, but I don't always see it being done that way. They start parking them graders. You know,
I
it's
mean,
gonna catch it. It
and-
ain't them, it's us.
And
And that,
that, you know, that might be something else to look at. I mean, it might be something to sit down and look at what's your best and let's see what I'm trying to say, your best and quickest grader man, to let him go and maybe where he's normally in one area, go over the whole district. I mean, you know.
I mean, that would be good.
Well, I think too, I just want to remind y'all too that, you know, whatever you do today, we can revisit at the very next board meeting. If this is not working, or it seems okay, we'll go another week or two.
Well,
So we're not
on the
committing
grader,
long term.
Let's keep an eye on it.
And it wouldn't, if none of this would have bothered me if I hadn't signed 2 weeks ago for diesel at $3.18 a gallon. And then $3.58 a gallon, then $4.90 a gallon. So in 2 weeks, it's went, almost $2 a gallon.
How
So
much?
It starts.
How much did you buy? I know they just delivered some to
500 gallons.
How many gallons it was, because they delivered all
you. Jimmy, how many?
all the. He got on it. Yeah, that was just Brett Road and Bridge, because what's, you got your phone with you, with the other one, what they delivered to the pit?
So 6,000 gallons at $4.90?
No, we're not sure about that price yet, because they hadn't sent us the invoice on that, because that's on-road fuel. And it generally runs right there together. But these off-road prices that we're talking about, the $4.90, that's, all that covers is just your graders, because that's the satellite tanks. All your brush cutters, all your mowers, your John Deere mowers, all your skid steers, excavator, all that other stuff, it comes out of the 6,000 gallon tank, because they fill up tanks on trucks and go to them and fill up.
I just want,
Well, with the dump trucks being parked as much as possible, I think you'll save quite a bit.
And you will, but it's, and you'll save, and that's what I'm just trying to give ideas of what I see to save all the way around. I mean,
yeah, we budgeted 570,000 for this year.
550.
550.
No, I'm talking about for the whole year for budget, $570,000 for fuel this year.
550. We spent 570 last year. So we already
So
short
we're
20 from last
20,000
year,
short
probably,
last year.
compared to last year.
And
Yeah.
we used-
Now we're gonna be a couple 100,000 or 400,000.
And we used roughly 230,000 so far.
Well, as of February, and that was January ticket. By running the March
it's a full
numbers,
month.
you've got not a full month in there. So it's hard to extrapolate.
Right.
Where do you see that now?
That's why I kind of left that out and went with, February's numbers was full, all of your tickets, and divided it by 4, because it was 4 months worth of stuff, January.
Anybody got any hold on a second. Anybody got any questions of Charlie after looking at what he put down? Because I know he's got to run.
Go put it out.
I sent out an email that the timeframe tonight, 12, from about midnight to about 4 o'clock, it's really unusual for them the state to push a meeting out like that on the weather. So, really unusual. So they saying that pretty high risk of intense tornadoes, and that risk went up this afternoon on the last briefing. I got a message while we were in here, so, tornado risk 12 to 4 a.m. Following that is pretty high. And then
You put the press release out on that?
I'll be.
How bad was the tornadoes in Jackson County that come below my house in Washington County? And was going.
You got a picture of the green where the.
But that's about it.
Yes, it looks like.
This was red. Where's the house fire at?
I know it's in Washington County.
And then freezing weather to follow, Saturday night, Sunday morning.
So it'd be like
Okay.
mid-20s.
Yes, sir.
Good God, that's gonna make
We're an hour
All right. Save money.
Yeah, this is affecting us, it's affecting Clay and everybody else.
It's affecting every resident in our county. Not only that, it's
Because
everybody.
if it blows y'all's budget, y'all gonna be looking at us, say, hey, we need this, or.
And I don't
I
think,
mean,
We have very minimal.
But what I'm saying, some might.
The sheriff's office.
what you gotta keep in mind is the cost of everything that you buy is fixing to
Yeah.
increase.
Oh, yeah.
So on top of fuel, worrying about it, you gotta worry about all your other stuff getting more
well, I
expensive.
think in the past, we've had disasters come, Sally, Michael, and all that, and we was hoping for some reimbursement afterwards. As little to come, there won't be no reimbursement for cost of living adjustments and all this. This is gonna be, and everybody's dealing with it.
Right.
Everybody.
I mean, and my thoughts are, you know, hopefully all of our residents, constituents and all that will have some, you
Sympathy
know,
for us.
some sympathy because they're seeing it as we are at the pumps too. I mean, you know, when you pull up and they're seeing their bank accounts go down every time they have to fill up just to get children to school or jobs or whatever. And we're in the same boat because
Yeah, and I think
everybody's
that's
got
what it says.
household budgets just like we got county.
Sure we do. And I think, again, that's where the public information stuff don't have to be pushed out there to let them know. I mean, it is.
Yeah. Dylan, did you get all this down?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
We all
again,
wait to see it.
we're gonna have to be very frugal.
Right, we always got to tighten our belts.
Have we ever had this
Everyone.
situation? Have
Exactly.
we ever had this? We
This
have.
board, we had.
I mean, it's happened since I've been
No,
here.
no, I know that since then, you're right.
It had.
But has it happened inflation this much since Jimmy Carter was the president? So
That's true.
I don't think it has, has it, Clay?
No.
18% increase
I saw
on cars.
something.
Gerald Gerald Ford, I mean, they said something today that he made the quote, it was a WIN program, he said, it said, eat less, grow more. I mean, it was bad in
Oh, yeah.
74.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know well. I had to buy a house.
I mean, I guess that's gonna be the premise that we have to say is that, I mean, everyone will have to. I mean, they do. Every time they stick that nozzle on that tank of their car, they
Right.
realize when that thing over there
Trying to wean my
clicks
car.
off a $400 gas.
Right.
Trying to wean it.
And,
Just
yeah,
put a little bit
they
in.
drop, and I've heard several people say that already, pulling up to the pumps, and their debit cards cut them off at 75. I heard one even at 125, and gets in his truck, he still don't have a full tank. I mean, and that, you know, and how long can a general public afford it? either?
Well, they can, I mean, especially people on fixed income.
Right.
And that's what we gotta be mindful of, is we can't control it.
What do y'all think of the idea of Dylan incorporating in his press release something about the amount of fuel that these graders burn per day and the cost?
I mean, and that's what I was saying, it needs to be, you know.
Be honest
It
with
needs to be worded right, because you don't want people to hear the
Oh,
first
they're gonna
thing
say, well, they don't do
they're
nothing
shutting down.
anyway.
Right.
And they don't do nothing anyway, so.
And-
Well, I think the general analysis too could be very well used an analogy of the road grader, because that's one of the key components of road and bridge, is not the mass majority key component of it. But show the numbers, show what we budgeted, just like they budgeted for in their budget for their household.
And where
I
we
mean,
are?
and where we're going to. I mean,
And-
we're looking at a multiple.
And when you set the budget, or when y'all set the budget, I think, in October, it started out at like 283 a gallon. In December, it went down as low as, I think, 262. And then it's been a gradual rise, and then in the last 2 weeks, we've been hitting the head. And I personally, from what I've seen, don't see an end in sight.
Well, they just shut off, I guess, the president signed an executive order on banning oil from Russia, which is 14% of our crude that we consume. And so that's gonna have a negative impact. It's not gonna definitely have so I guess they're negotiating with Venezuela and Iran right now, but I mean, transportation cost for them to get it, especially from Iran over here.
And how long will it take to get here?
That's right.
Long time to swim that ocean.
Go to pump.
You were saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying, I know that the Mariana, city of Mariana has done a pretty good job of converting.
Yeah,
at least
9,000.
the natural gas. Natural gas is not been seeing the same.
I think that conversion kit, well, I think Jim Dean did it, one of them when I was chair, and I went and looked at these ones. It was like a $7,200, we double check with him, conversion kit that goes on F-150 to go from gas propulsion to the natural gas. And so, and I think the percentage of that at that time, which has been 40 years, was a rebate or some type of grant that you could get for them. But it dropped considerably, the amount of cost now, because you're right, natural gas and all that's a lot more steady income. I mean, steady, commodity.
What is it running?
And
No telling.
but the only thing I would see, with that being a problem is, you know, like maybe for, like, my truck that I drive or something like that, it'd be okay. I don't have all this in the bid.
Oh, yeah.
But you take some of those trucks, a lot of them they got toolboxes, fuel tanks, air compressors and all that. So there's nowhere to put them.
No, I was really speaking more of the sheriff's department.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, y'all are very unique. I mean,
Right.
or the variation.
Any more questions for John? Comment?
Well, what are
Are
we
we
gonna
gonna
do?
take any action on any of
Do we
this?
just-
I don't think, we're just looking at their plan. We can accept it, but I think,
Well, I mean, I think you have to accept it. I don't think what we can do. I mean, at this point, what else is we do? We can't keep up operations at this cost analysis. We can't. I mean, we'll be at a 7-figure deficit.
And I guess, and I guess it's like what I said, this is something that we can address every 2 weeks at the meetings
got to.
or whatever, to see if we want to come back to it, because it's normally about every Wednesday, and for some reason this week, I didn't see the ticket so far with the price for the on-road fuel, but it's generally right there neck and neck with off-road, but, I can.
Are we exempt on all of our equipment that takes diesel? Are we exempt that they can use off-road on all of it, or just the off-road certified by DOT on the federal level? So can a diesel truck, F-250, we still have to use on-road?
We have to
We
use
can't-
on-road, because if they were to check us,
Oh, no, I just didn't know if we was exempt. Yeah, I didn't know any of the problems.
not that I'm aware of, because, I mean,
I mean, our ambulances uses off-road fuel, I think, don't they?
not if they get it from our
There
yard,
is
it's
on-road.
on-road.
Just from my own understanding, what's the difference?
One's dyed and one's not.
One's got dye. The dye is just, the dye is purple. And that's just to be able to show that it's not taxed. So you can't put it in a semi or something if it's
There's a
on-road.
difference that also,
It's just a product, it's the way it's product.
Not a different fuel, other than
Just
just
a
dye,
difference.
just a different.
there is a difference in it, because there's less sulfur in the on-road.
But
And
you
I know
could
that
use it,
personally.
you could use it in.
Oh, it runs.
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah,
You
it's
can
running.
use it, but just don't ever get caught. It'd be a fraud case.
They will prosecute you. All right, I don't see us needing a motion or anything to accept this. Is everyone
Well, today's
comfortable
Friday.
with what is being proposed?
No,
It's like Eric said. we gotta do
Okay,
it.
I'm not comfortable with the graders. Because you say we can address it every 2 weeks. It comes a big rain tonight, we ain't even gonna have them all graded in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know.
what
I
your
think the
graders,
graders need to keep going. And we need to cut somewhere else. That's my opinion. I mean, cut, I don't know.
where can we cut?
How much is a hydraulic box blade? Or maybe an 8 or 10
Yeah,
foot
we
wide
don't
one?
do that.
I'd have to try.
Why wouldn't they?
Try.
Cause everybody else be out there with a box blade.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that the cost for a piece of implement like that versus how much you said, almost, how much is
You still
different?
gotta run something.
You probably don't spend,
But you got 8 tractors sitting out there that was already paid for. The mower tractors can pull that. You can't buy a box blade because it floats in your PTO, so
Right.
you can't do that. But I mean, if there's a necessity, just looking for something that you can probably pay for the implement for the cost that you don't save on the gas on the thing.
$2,500, you can probably buy an 8-foot box
You got-
blade.
You gotta get them in, you gotta get them working and all that.
But well, it works on your lift.
Yeah.
And if you're asking for a pan, that's a different story.
You'd have to have a hydraulic one. You'd have to have one that's separate from the tractor. It just pulls hydraulic box. That way it's independent from the tractor.
You won't get that for $2,500.
No,
Well, that's what I was thinking, you wouldn't.
But why have you got to have one like that?
because if you put one behind your tractor on the 3-4 hitch, it's gonna float every time
Yeah.
your tractor moves. If your
Just
tractor
like you
is,
do.
it's gonna do
Adjust
this.
your tractor lift.
You can't adjust your tires in the bump and then.
I mean,
Don't drive as fast.
we do it, you don't think y'all wanna do. you know?
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
There goes,
there goes
A
a sheriff
savings right
command
there.
post.
I went good with the rest of it, but I think we're asking for big trouble.
so your proposal is we just keep the motor graders running?
Yeah. Somebody, I mean, you see this being the solution? I see it be a solution on the fuel, but do you see a solution to give what we need to be given and cut? Yeah, I just see it.
Well, one thing I'd say is maybe the worst areas, I mean, they're all gonna be degraded, that's the case, but the cost every day, if this continues, which I don't know, anybody can forecast the end of this, and that's right.
So we're just gonna quit grading roads if it gets worse?
Well, I don't know, I just think you have to manage it.
It may come to that.
But
It may come to that.
If you start getting
Really?
$1,000,
I know
well,
it may.
how about if it goes to $8 a gallon? I mean, at some point.
That's not
That's not.
Am I
That's
wrong?
not
We
totally.
will laugh, we will laugh at 550 about
I
it.
am, they'll tell me.
At some point, the American recovery dollars you just transferred into contingency are gonna run out.
No, that was CARES Act,
But even
Yeah.
Oh,
though-
CARES Act,
Yeah.
CARES
but
Act.
they're not
But
done
we just
that.
put in contingency, it's gonna run out.
Oh, I know.
Well, that's the one thing I'm concerned about, just the cost of those daily
right.
operations, and those things, so
We got a meeting the
22nd.
22nd, today, we got 11.
But we need to
So
solve
if we-
something here.
I'm thinking. Everybody needs, is after tonight, everybody's going to need to be grading Monday. Do the cycle. Let's look at the next meeting. Evaluate it, see how far they are.
Well, the times like
Probably
this,
ain't gonna never matter because it's gonna keep raining, you're still gonna keep grading. So you gotta make, you gotta change this somewhere else.
Where can you make the change?
I don't know.
well, that's the problem. I mean, we don't, none of us
But if
are.
you
Well-
stop grading, you're gonna have an issue.
Well, I don't say
And I
you
ain't talking
stop
about
it.
just people complaining, but people being able to move and, you know, cause some of these roads get pretty bad.
Well, that's what they said, they'd go out there and monitor them real quick, there's bad
Yeah.
roads. I don't know.
Like I said, we don't grade them all now in our cycle.
Who's your supervisor?
He ain't here. But you know good well they don't all get done.
Well, yeah, I know that.
Well-
Some of mine might not need to be done. I mean, you know, also some of my line work roads has allowed me a little bit more buoyancy, not much, but you know, some.
What?
Did you get all your money?
What's the cycle time in D2? When you was there?
Well, now I've got two different grader men there, but whenever, Cruz, when Cruz was running the grader, he could just cover the dirt roads in 3 to 4 days in his area. Then you had Greg up there, which was another walk, and he could cover his, I mean. in a
So
very
you had two
short time.
fast graders.
I had two.
So compared to then and now, what's the difference? They're not as fast or faster?
They're probably just not as fast, the ones we got there, because one of them's new. But that, I tell you, but this is to accommodate that if you want to, because I know that up till today, the roads hadn't got bad. They got a little wet, they got a little soft, but they was firming back up. But we can start a fresh cycle Monday, and I can get everyone, the supervisors, to document what it takes to make a full cycle.
Right. What about,
And try to do maybe just document on there if they were just grading the road or pulling ditches too.
we might have to quit pulling ditches.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that, but.
I think it's, I guess it kind of goes back just the basics right now, just the basics.
Okay, what about identifying what about identifying the dirt roads with the heaviest traffic and do
Well-
them, and then do the less traveled every 3 weeks or something like that?
Well, I mean, and
Instead of just
that's
cutting them.
because, I mean, you and I know where all the problem roads are in D2. You know, as is, Mr. Beacott knows D5, Mr. Kennedy, D1. Everybody knows their problem roads, and some of them, because one of them, there was one road that I had in D2, and I told the grader man, no matter what's going on, every 10 days, put it on your calendar to grade that road. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
That's
so
what
you,
that's what you had
so
to manage.
you do have problem roads and all that. I mean, like I say, this was just a suggestion to try to come up with something.
Well, y'all done a good job of coming up with this, but, yeah, maybe.
I mean, so.
What,
leave it up to him. Just say one-
do the cycle, like I said, but then we can look at the dump truck
Mhm.
usage. So you know what, they get about 8 miles per gallon.
Yes,
Well, could you park them where you've got your motor graders instead of making them come back and forth every day?
Now might be the time to fix
I
all
mean,
that.
you would have to haul your workers to them. I'm not by any means telling you to make your workers go that ain't used to doing that, cause you.
we could possibly, but and I guess at some point during the day while they're hauling, they would just have to come by and get, but only, you know.
Security's the only thing that I stood out.
That's what I was gonna say, like
Where
the
are
pits, the pits don't bother me, but I know like you got Church Street, you got, and that's why I put on there, you know, like weekly forecast plans from the supervisor, so they could come to me on Monday morning and say, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing this week. All right, so you're gonna need excuse me, X amount of trucks on Tuesday, you're gonna need X amount of trucks on Thursday and just do it like.
Well, it wasn't too long ago that we had someone drill a hole or something in the grader down in the south part.
You're right.
$5,000 will place a
And,
tank.
You know,
Or
and
something
one of the
like
things
that.
that, one of the things that would really help, and I'm scared to do, is if you more neutralize your graders in their grading area. You know, because there's so many graders that's kind of outside, just outside of where their grading area is. But at this point, you know, you don't want to think about it, but with it going like this, you got to worry about theft.
Well,
And,
Yeah.
Like we talked about
And has
too,
your grader operator said anything about, they drive to that?
right,
Have they started coming to you and saying, or are they all close to their home?
We-
Yes.
pretty much we've got all the grader men situated where they're pretty close. They just come to the shop. They come to the shop one time a week, sign time sheets. So most of those, they're closer to their house, from the house to their grader than it is to the shop.
So they leave the graders parked wherever.
They, at all those tanks.
maybe it's the time, and I think we've all talked about it, to start looking at our routes.
Mhm.
They're in the, you know, sometimes they'll do these roads. And there's two more over here, but they go over here and do some and then come around. Maybe we need to look at that. It'd be a good
Yeah.
time. And the miles that they're doing and.
Well,
divide it up
and
where they do
that's
it.
something too, you know, once they start a cycle, leave them in that cycle, don't pull
I've
it.
got several. So I don't know how many miles I've got to look at.
A lot.
Well,
Not a lot.
Well, I like to say,
you fail.
about 3 years ago, we looked at the plan to look at places to put our equipment in more secure locations.
Right,
And we looked at even getting some FEMA trailers, a little short work trailer, whatever you want to call them, remember, to have the sites they could go to. They reported there, they went available from there. I would say this, I don't know if it'd be a legal question. Michelle, you still on the line? I think that's a no.
I'm here.
Okay. So if we can find, I don't just say this because security is always an issue when you've got this type of equipment. There's a lot of farmers that have really a lot of equipment, some of the barns that's in the thing, large equipment that's already there. Would it be all right if a county equipment was parked on private property?
I mean, we would want some kind of agreement with the owner.
And the reason I'm saying that, in the
They used to do that all the
meantime,
time.
yeah, in the meantime, it is very bad to see a road grader have to park beside a road that is in the most desolate part of our county. And again, the Lord has been good that we had having a few issues since I've been on the board and Clint does. So, but we need to look at maybe in the interim, this is a good time to look for a place. We even looked at, what Kirkland pit for you, wasn't it? Was it Kirkland?
Up in that area,
In
yeah.
Alford, right? And it closed in
All-
there.
all
One.
yours are in Lockheed. You got the city of Alfred, you got the city of Cottondale.
Yeah. And maybe we can use Sneed's as a location. I can find a place.
Because got two in Malone.
Yeah.
Then we
Mine's
got one
in
in Ag
But
Center.
why can I can talk to the manager at Sneed's. I know that they use, right now, they use Cypress, which is desolate at night.
Right,
But maybe we need to ship that equipment to a municipality, Grand Ridge. I'm sure we can get Grand Ridge to put them in a more secure, it's not a perfect
I'm
fix.
not opposed to that. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying.
But they're already somewhere.
Well, is it
so we're
less
not
than
solving
you?
nothing unless we put dope.
That's pretty good ride from Grand Ridge to Cypress, ain't it?
Oh, it's only about 4 miles, 3.5 miles.
Yeah, but down on Spanish Trail.
Yeah.
But I mean, have they been vandalized since they've been there? I mean, they've been there for a while.
Well, that was vandalized down off Alliance Road, and because of this, where they, I guess, tore that.
Well,
Just some things right there, but we do need to look at that, 'cause this is not gonna be the last time. I mean, our world right now, the volatility in our world right now, it's on just that crude oil for many years to come. And if we have some type of comprehensive plan on a small scale, that it says, hey, we've got these locations, we can put auxiliary tanks, because I even worked with we did with Lou Roberts, because he said, hey, to make it even more secure, you would have a gas tank with diesel, and let the deputies have that little card, y'all call it, and that card could come in, let the deputies periodically during the day and night, you can fuel, we make it even more secure. So we may, and again, that's a cost analysis to understand, but this is some of the time,
probably for next budget.
yeah.
So
So,
you,
oh,
by
yeah,
the
I'm
time you
saying that
put
right
lights
now.
on it, and
Oh,
put
no,
cameras,
you got second
put a
thing.
fence.
On this, why don't we let I mean, he can crack down on it, see what we gotta do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, right.
And be very cautious of what we're doing and see what we.
Well, the next 10 days, in my opinion, will be really crucial on finding out what's going on, because obviously Russia is attacking now the capital city Kyiv of Dang, and that's, they're polling some other countries are trying to get involved now, and possibly, and that's on, a lot of the analysts are saying that's gonna be a tipping point where if he keeps going west of just Ukraine and keeps going west, that's gonna be a key. And so I'm just saying, I think we can take a breath of this, and like you said, just let him monitor
Let
this
him
for the
do
next
it.
4 minutes.
Jeffrey, I trust Jeffrey with it, but I don't really think this, one cycle per month. But I think you can work it out.
Well, and that's
There
why
might be
I-
times to start consolidating some stuff that maybe you needed to do. And
Right.
now might be the time to do it.
And that's why I just put money, because we know after this rain, I put start cycle and then check the time of every cycle. Because, there again, like I know at one time when I had Greg up there, when you were around Grayson, you'd have folks, I ain't never seen Greg up here twice in 1 week before. Because he was just covering ground. And you got some of them that they're just that fast.
Well, the key again right now is to make sure the public understands, and I feel very confident this time. It's really hard for some people to not understand where we're at when gas is out. This is a situation that every person that commutes and buys commodities at any stores, they're feeling the sting.
Right.
And they have to understand, they will, I'm very sure they're very common sense people in our county, like most. They understand what we're going through on a larger scale. Most people don't run this size equipment. Very few people do.
Right.
And all they have to do, so.
Okay, we can beat this horse for a long time. I would think that Ms. Carlin, if you can get with Mr. Dillon and make sure that the appropriate information is published. And I'm thinking the cost of fuel, compare what we basically what you just gave us. Do y'all agree with that?
Just let them know. I'd like to see a comparison of what we budgeted
Let
for in
people
there.
know.
So they know that our budget numbers were based upon a margin, for lack of better words, fatted in the buoyancy in there. We're busting that, and we're 4 months deep.
All right, and then at the next meeting, we'll talk more about this, okay?
Okay.
At some point in the meeting, probably at the end. Anything else on this?
But so now, just so I'm understanding right, we are still talking about carpooling and all we can keep the dump trucks.
Everything. I would
Keep the
say
dump
this,
trucks kind of grounded, but let's just check the grading cycle and see how long it's taking every person,
Right.
The vehicles don't need to be moving, don't let it move.
Right.
You're gonna wind up with some sitting at the Quonset hut?
Well,
And
you
play a dog.
take, we
Same
got,
way with that.
when those squad trucks leave, a lot of times they leave with one person in them. And right now, because I've questioned the whole time I've been with the county, why do we have 4-door trucks?
we should
Just
have,
one.
they did it for inmates. We did it for inmates. when we bought
Right
one. We don't
now,
have-
right now we need to put people in.
We need small regular cab dump trucks with a trailer behind it. So when that one person carries, he's got one single
Right.
cab. He's got a dump truck and take a backhoe off and he can put it back on, do it, and haul it back to the thing. So he can do both.
Right.
Oh, I learned something last night. That Grand Ridge is getting inmates.
There's been a bunch of them. Sneed's is getting.
Holmes County.
Everybody's getting inmates but us. Why?
So we need to be reaching out to the.
I
Do we need
I
to
do
meet with the
know-
judges?
I do.
No,
know-
You're talking about
this is
state
Somebody
inmates.
said, no, these are state
Yeah, but
inmates.
even to our county stuff,
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we
I,
should-
come on, man.
I don't know the outcome of it, but the other day when I mentioned something I read about the inmates, and he said, what did you just say? I said, the inmates are gonna come help us. And I know he made a phone call, right? He made a phone call. I don't know the outcome of it, but, and those inmates, because they closed the work camps down everywhere is my understanding. But, so these inmates that they're getting out are still housed in the main unit, but they're still letting them go out the gate. They put them in a dorm by themselves in the main unit, but they're letting them go out.
We need to see as many as we can get, because also if you do the multiples of work,
Right.
we need stuff done, and this is downtime, you have money. Of course, they had to be certified to go out with inmates, correct? You had to have the.
Right.
the employee.
Right. I mean, and
Did we take that out of our budget for the 2 that we had allocated a couple of years ago? We took it out, didn't we? This may be a
All right.
time if we get some.
Well, I have one other thing. Michelle, are you on the line?
I'm here.
I'm tired of getting phone calls from all over the country wanting money from Missy Mossy. What's the status of that?
Well, right now it's back in the hands of Buck Dickinson at FDEM. They had,
At the Department of Emergency Management.
Yeah.
At the state.
Okay.
so we had requested approval from FEMA to pay the escrow of Nationwide, the company that issued the payment bond.
Right?
And there have been claims made on that payment bond. As a part of approving that payment, they said that we essentially had to be able to show that the contractor and the subs were not getting any duplicate payments. And I made multiple requests from Nationwide and Missy Mossy's counsel for evidence of their invoices to the prime contractor and their payment records. And I only got in response some copies of their bank statements. And the finance clerk and I were not able to align those deposits with the payments that we made to Graham County. And on Tuesday afternoon, Missy Mossy's counsel confirmed for me that they don't have any invoices, that they never invoiced Graham County for any of the work. So I sent it back to FDEM for review because I don't know how to comply with that request that we verify that there were no duplicate payments. And it was kind of complicated too by the fact that Missy Mossy told me in writing that they were owed $568,000 and some change. And the release that they signed for Nationwide showed $615,000. So there's a discrepancy in the amount that they're claiming under the payment bond and the documentation that we have showing how much they're owed. So
You're sure that they didn't agree to take a reduced amount, just trying to get their money? But has anyone asked Travis Howell about these documents?
yep, I talked to him on Tuesday. He doesn't have any different documentation than what I do.
Okay, because I know he told me that every load of rock that we were billed for was put on the road.
Right.
They verified it.
So DEM will not sign off on this until they get all those records correct?
They're reviewing the records.
We're reviewing the records.
They're reviewing the stuff you gave them, right, Michelle?
Yeah, so I sent them the Nationwide on Tuesday, sent me the original indemnity agreement between Graham County and Nationwide. And I sent them the proposed settlement between the county along with all of the contingent releases. But I got to tell you, Missy Mossy's release shows that they are getting more money than what our documentation shows that they're owed. And that 568,000 number came from Missy Mossy back in November before they had counsel.
Are they including their council fees in that?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, Ms. Peden broke it down for me in the email what she was owed. So, I mean, on the face of the documents, yes, it looks like they are getting more money out of the payment bond than what our documentation shows that they were owed.
Well, just a quick question. Was Travis on every one of those roads that's in question, or his CI services?
Yes.
Okay, so the roads that Travis and them have documentation of, or Lowe's, not roads, Lowe's that Travis has copies of, can Missy Mossy get with Travis and see if there's any questionable about how, well, Travis says, I have these, you dispute this one, this one, this one. I mean, I'm just trying to find a solution to this issue. So, I mean, if Travis has documents, certified documents of every load that went to the roads that were done in question, I'm assuming, then shouldn't that be a source of,
So Travis's documents, they support the two bills that I need to pay.
okay.
All right, but the question is, am I okay to pay that to
I
the
understand.
bonding company?
But the discretion
And
is
that's what
Missy Mossy
they're
thinks they
trying
owe
to
more or less. I mean, I
work
sound like
through.
more.
I mean, as far as what the documents he has allow me to pay the two invoices that I have.
Well, what if we just paid what you got documented?
That we can
She's
better,
making sure that FDM is okay with that. They're
we'll be able
looking
to do
deeper than I mean, I'm not looking at the subcontractor stuff. Now, Michelle, there was a question. Those bonds, you can't require the bonding company just pay and wait on us to pay them back? I mean, aren't they our bonds that they're supposed to pay out?
I mean, and Nationwide can pay those bond claims anytime they get ready.
Can we
I don't-
not make them do that?
Mm,
as
mean,
the bond owner?
in court, we could.
We just need to get it resolved.
I'm just saying again, if Travis's numbers match up with yours, do you understand that? I mean, is that what you're saying?
It supports the invoices that I'm comfortable
Very
paying.
close, very close.
Yes.
Okay, so the Missy Mossy and the other, is anybody else try Missy Mossy in this triangle with us?
Yes.
Okay,
There's, Mr. Lawson.
all right, so Missy Mossy sub, okay. So they need to get with Travis and see if there's any differences, maybe.
Mhm.
All right, well, they say, okay, we got this one, we're saying we owe this one, they said we can't.
They need
verify
to provide the documents that the attorney has requested, and that would clear all this mess off.
But now
But the fact that they're saying they don't provide invoices, I mean, what funding company is gonna release money without an invoice?
Well,
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. They just don't wanna give it to Michelle, which would make all her reservations go away if she could see those documents.
Well, why did we pay Travis?
He did his job. He gave me what I needed to pay the 2 invoices. The question is, who do you pay the money to? Because we know Graham County doesn't deserve it, and that's who I'm contracted to pay. So that's what complicated every bit of
And
it.
they filed bankruptcy, right? Graham County?
No, they went into receivership, but they also had a finance company that was funding this work. And that is the company that went into bankruptcy because of Graham County's receivership. It was not just Jackson County's jobs. They had multiple jobs with Graham County where they defaulted. But
They were providing erroneous invoices to that funding company.
on the face of the documents that I have,
Graham County, but let her.
No, I want to hear yours. Hold on, Michelle. What?
Okay.
Graham County was providing invoices that didn't exist to the funding company and saying, we're gonna get this money. They would release money to them, and I could never tie out to what they said I mean, there were numerous invoices when they sent me stuff saying, you haven't paid this, you haven't paid. They were not real invoices. We didn't owe the money. We paid all of our invoices that we were supposed to.
So we've got documents to demonstrate what we owe.
Yes. We just don't know who we owe it to. Therefore, we're trying to pay this bonding company so they can pay for it.
Yes.
But we need all this cleared up before we can clear up 4177, which
Absolutely.
is holding up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you did. I don't know where it went. Okay.
Yeah. When you get
Go ahead,
to
go
that.
ahead.
First of all, the action on the speed bumps, Tuesday, what did we do?
We told,
We agreed to do
right,
But we didn't agree to anything specific. We
Yeah.
asked them.
Jabbo and I.
it. Okay. The issue on Sanders Avenue has not went away. And I'm willing to make a motion to, put speed bumps on Sanders Avenue only because it's in the city limits of Mariana. Graceville, city limits. So, that's my motion, then I got something else. Sanders.
Clifton Reed, Sanders, right? What area you
On
talking about?
Sanders is
On
what we're
Sanders,
talking
period.
about.
On
Yes.
Sanders, okay.
Did you second that?
I would say.
Okay, that was.
Okay, on the Graceville, well, we asked the city of Graceville and they said, that's up to y'all, whatever y'all decide. So they pushed it back to us. So, but there's some of them that do not like speed bumps either. And,
Who's the city manager up there?
Michelle,
Oh, Michelle.
she,
All right.
And they really don't want them, as we've discussed, but we're getting a lot of complaints. I know you probably got a call the other
I
day.
did
I
get a
got
call.
the same call as well.
You said they don't want Who's that?
Well,
The city.
they're not,
City.
they're not happy with them either, but there is a situation here and I understand the situation. But the only reason I'm going for it is because it is in the city limits and it is low speed area.
But
Now,
no,
these that we're putting out in the county, I do not agree with that. For the city,
but
you
just
know,
a
you
quick
got low
question.
speed, 35 mile an hour, or whatever.
We talked about this before. Why do they have jurisdiction over our highways inside the city?
No,
I know they're doing speed.
well, of course, we don't have it.
Yeah, we regulate speed. When I ran into on River Road coming to Sneed. So Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, I asked about changing the speed form. Said the city of Sneed has that jurisdiction. Is that correct? They have jurisdiction over our roads on speed? I don't know about speed bumps.
Well, they might, but
Yeah.
I just wondering, as long as y'all do well, I'll support it. I just didn't know if the citizens had it. I thought we discussed, they was gonna bring it, have someone bring it to the city council and then the public can
and I
debate it.
would, we would,
And they get the
uh,
public input instead of us just going out there and doing something that 5% may want and 95 said, heck no. I mean, do you feel comfortable with that?
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Fix, second by Commissioner McKinney. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
now, I do think we need to look at some kind of policy on county roads. I was talking to Walton County Commissioner this morning, and they have a policy over there. You already got it?
I just was laughing because I just read, we need a policy on speed bumps.
But he said he was gonna send it to us, but I think it, because once we start putting speed bumps on roads, especially out in the county, everybody's gonna want them because people speed on every road. And it's in
I got
that,
a request. I hear y'all putting speed bumps on Hamilton Road. I want you to consider putting them on my. all roads.
Exactly.
Pretty soon, we're gonna have them on just like.
you won't be
say.
able to drive down the road without going over a speed
Well,
bump.
what, did he say any of the one, just a few criteria they said? I mean, speed cannot be the only criteria. I mean, what?
Oh, no, there's different
I
things,
know,
and I
that's what
don't
I'm saying,
know,
but
I
you say,
wanna look at, we need to look at, doing a policy, and there needs to be a procedure, and, well, one of it's a traffic study, a speed study, and, I can't, he said several things, but it makes sense to have. If not,
We
we're
can
gonna
pull,
be, put-
I'd like to see that one, but we can pull a few examples. Jeffrey, we'll get together on
Some
that.
of them absolutely hate.
oh, I know, they're not gonna like,
Seems like every time we put them on city road, we got more complaints
Oh,
about
yeah.
being there
Oh, yeah.
afterwards than we did.
But you know, remember Larry, I'm sure you're very familiar with, there's guidelines on the height of it.
yeah.
You throw
Well, now,
two
we
dogs,
talked about, we
transmission
ain't gonna
out.
put the big ones.
No,
So there's a hump and there's a
Oh,
hump,
there's
there's a
a-
difference.
There's some at front of the old Chipley High School in Chipley.
Yeah.
Better know they're there, they will rattle your teeth and tear your vehicle up, and you liable to end up in somebody's yard upside down if you don't watch out.
anything else?
No, sir.
Do you have anything?
Did we vote? Yeah, we voted.
Yeah, we took care of you.
Unanimously.
Danielle,
No, sir.
you want to complain? Hey, it's Friday afternoon, 3:45.
I'm being nice.
All right, let's go.